Hi everyone, I'm your host Alik, and welcome to our very first panel session in 2024. And today we are going to talk about the connection of blockchain and art, and we will also try to understand if blockchain is reshaping the art landscape or maybe not. If you're new here, this event is hosted by the blockchain professionals community, and we are kind of think space of blockchain engineers, of blockchain professionals, and of everyone who is interested in the concept of this technology, and for people who are interested in its early adoption. And we host such events once in 2 weeks. And please subscribe to our social media channels and visit our website to get all the invitations or to find the recordings of our previous sessions. And without further ado, let me invite our today's guests. Just a second. Hi, everyone. Hi, guys.
Hi,
Hello.
hi everyone.
First of all, let me thank you for say thank you to for accepting my invitation to be a panelist at today's session. And let's first of all try to understand who we are, and so maybe let's start one by one with giving a brief intro about yourself. Maybe Hannah, let's start with you.
No problem. Hey everyone. So, Alex, thanks for inviting me to this discussion. As for me, I'm from Minsk. I'm a member of Belarusian Union of Designers with more than 16 years work experience as a designer. I mostly work as a UX UI, but besides, I'm a mentor in IT school and also the course for pro designers where we are touching such topics as AR, VR, and crypto art as well, learning the difference between, I don't know, hot and cold wallets and in general how it works. And I guess some of my former students could be here as well today. Moreover, me myself, I was studying a 2-year program of data science course. My discipline was computer vision. That means that I can work with generative art, and I was trying to write my personal Python course to create my own gen art. So mm, I can't say that they are something like Dala or Stable Diffusion results, but these pieces were my own. So that's a short brief about me myself.
Perfect. Thank you. So, Arseny, the mic is yours.
Thank you. So my name is Arseny Vesnin. So I have been exploring the internet and creating the best of visual media arts and design since like 2003, like 20 years ago, by establishing Design Collector Network and as a leading platform and resource for media art and design. And like since 2013, I have been organizing the annual initiatives. We call them Digital Decade, that aims to reveal upcoming digital artists. And this initiative has been taking places around the Europe, in London, Barcelona, St. Petersburg, just before COVID. And after COVID, we went into the metaverse space and delivering it right now like NFT events. So since 2020, I have been into NFT art scene and creating and leading the artists to their proposition and goals by helping them to find the exposure on internet, on Twitter, on other resources. And so it's like last year we with EPAM, with blockchain community, we did our first metaverse exhibition here. If you may remember, it was artificial imagination, and it included 20 artists that created their artworks using the AI. So that's pretty about me. In meantime, I'm lead designer and like working for different clients as UX UI and delivering different products since I remember myself actually. Thank you.
Thank you, Arseny. And Francesca, please.
Thank you, Alec. Thank you, everyone, for introducing yourself. I'm a software testing engineer, but after work, or as a hobby, I'm an NFT artist, 3D artist, and traditional painter. And I'm also the founder of NFT Club Tokyo and NFT Club Berlin. That's it.
Thank you. So, before we start our today's discussion, I'd like to remind everyone to leave your comments, questions, or any types of suggestions in the comment section. And at the end of today's session, we will go through the live chat. And let's try to proceed to our today's questions that I have prepared in advance. So it sounds like you are pretty good in, you three are pretty good in the topic of design and somehow related to design, but blockchain is something secondary, as far as I understand, not the main skill. Not the main type of thing. And let's try to give it a bit of context. I mean, how is your work connected to blockchain? Any volunteers?
Well, from my side, I can say that my work doesn't connect it with blockchain, but that's my sphere of professional interest, if I can say so. I have a strong interest in its applications, particularly its intersection with art. The primary reason my attention was drawn to blockchain was its inherently disruptive nature. So this technology is constantly pushing the boundaries of our traditional understanding of concepts such as, I don't know, ownership, value, transactions. And as a designer, I'm naturally drawn towards innovation and any other disruptive ideas. Secondly, this novel concept of crypto art and NFTs caught my interest as someone, I don't know, well immersed in the world of designs and beauty. The idea of unique digital creations that are not only viable but also ownable tangibly. This interested me. Moreover, any digital collectibles, tokenization art, and even implementing blockchain into augmented or virtual reality are all some kind of intriguing perspective, right? That can potentially redefine the role of the art and design in digital age, if I can say so. So I may not be dealing with blockchain directly in my own work, but its transforming potential of this art and design world makes it the topic of almost professional interest.
All right. Thank you, Hannah. And you guys?
So likewise, I come mostly from a technical background. I do software testing, so I never really touch with my work the testing of the blockchain or anything related to the technical side of the blockchain. But my relationship with blockchain started when I started digital art, and this happened way back during Corona time, where we were basically stuck at home and had to find myself a new hobby to entertain myself. As coming from a digital, like a traditional painter, I wanted to explore more like digital art. I don't have a design background or anything like that. So after a lot of time, which I had, I managed to basically learn the platform on how to do 3D designs, and I started to make my render. And this was before that the blockchain and the crypto started to be popular. So as soon as I got a little bit more confident with my work and with my art, after I would say maybe a year, I started to hear about NFTs, and it was really niche at the time. I actually published my first artwork in an NFT platform 1 month before it boomed. So it was like kind of like I happened to be a pioneer in that sense, at least from my niche, from my community. Many people didn't know what an NFT was. Actually, even at this stage, if you ask somebody, people might not know what an NFT is. But basically, 1 month after I published and even sold my first artwork, which was quite astonishing for me because I was quite fast. Being one of the first artists in the platform, I was like lucky in that sense. 1 month later, Beeple sold his first NFT for 69 millions, and then everybody, the media, everybody started to basically be interested in the topic and boomed. And even my grandma knew what it was an NFT because she heard it on the TV. So this is basically how I got introduced to it. Of course, I got a lot of help from other technical people at the beginning, being non-technical myself in this area. But then from that moment on, I was definitely hooked, and that's how I started my other communities as well.
Thank you, Francesca. And Arseny, your turn.
Yeah, that's really interesting how Francesca mentioned these Corona and COVID stuff that really, really significantly affected the race of NFT art, of crypto art, because everybody was like sitting at home and like trying to communicate online. And myself started a bit earlier, so it was 2018 when I was actually introduced to some guys that were working with ICO on Bitcoin, and they were doing like an art contest at that moment, and the price was 1 Bitcoin actually. So one guy actually won 1 Bitcoin. It was, I think, before the Bitcoin crash in 2018. And then it was just fun. It was not actually NFT because they just put their art on the walls in the gallery and just judge it on the fly. But later, like in 2019, I was invited by the CEO of Maker's Place, one of the first platform, and I didn't pay a lot of attention to this because I thought I was experimenting with glitch art a lot, like for 10 years, and I was thinking like put some glitch art on this platform and apply the price in by that time Ethereum was like $400, and I thought it's very low for my glitch art experiments, and I just left them there and I forgot about this. And in 2020 in October I got like a payslip from this platform, and I was very surprised because it was like some amount, very good amount at that moment, because Ethereum was already $700. Yeah, and then I started to get interested. I already ran the exhibition, but it was not connected to blockchain. It was on S-Edition platform. S-Edition is like a very hermetic digital platform that sells artworks as a digital piece, but for real money, for fiat. And so this was really interesting. And at the end of 2020, I connected with Super Rare and became the editor on this platform. And I start like promoting artists, and I start onboarding a lot of artists through the 2021 when it was like a big boom, and that's how it started. So it's still here, and it's really interesting how it will evolve. And yes, blockchain is just a word, but actually we have a lot of different blockchains that are connected to art space, and they're all very interesting. So let's discuss them later.
Okay, thank you, Arseny. And you, three of you just explained your own stories about how your work is connected to blockchain, and paying attention to designers itself. I mean, it's pretty obvious that design has something to do with NFTs, with blockchain. There is some kind of direct connection of these two major things. And is it kind of, I mean, is blockchain adoption among designers is something that designers are pretty good aware of, or is it just a minority yet? Your opinions?
From my side, not every designer is aware what is going on blockchain platforms on art. So from my side, from my point of view, design and art, blockchain art, and all of connected with NFT are some kind of different ways Maybe I'm wrong, but I see that among all my community, the designers I'm working with, I feel that the only me is connected with the NFT and crypto art and interested in this sphere. So probably guys have some other opinion or other, I don't know, designer surroundings, or that many other designers are interested in blockchain. But from my side, I guess not so many.
Well, I cannot really speak for many designers as I'm not one myself, but from my experience, not all designers are artists, right? And not all artists are NFT artists or interested in blockchain in general. So having a community, I got in touch with a lot of people from very, very different background interested in blockchain, mostly for the money, but most other were just not designer, were just maybe illustrators or maybe musicians, maybe they were building, I don't know, algorithm art or generative art. So not necessarily all designers are interested in blockchain and vice versa, like in the sense that all other people can be interested and be interested in creating anything on the blockchain.
Yeah, but
Very good point. Yes.
yes, I mean, if we can continue on this topic, so if we say if we like split design from art, so there's really huge potential right now for designers, for web designers, for UX designers, for UI designers, for AI designers, and this is like a very big platform, very big movement happening right now. It's like Web3. Yeah, there are a lot of projects that are coming each week, opening like bubbles. Maybe it's just bubbles. Maybe they will collapse in future. But it's really when I see like on LinkedIn, for example, how they are looking for designers for UX stuff for everybody, it's really kind of making noise right now. So it's interesting from the point of exactly from the point of designer, and it's different from artist. It's
And I guess
Francesca
also,
mentioned.
sorry, yeah, I also that we need to define what designer mean. Just because design can be from different spheres, so that could be some designer that had graphical design in their background, and they can create simulations or know how to deal with the digital arts, right? But there are some designers from any other spheres, and they could some difficulties in just even understanding this digital part of the designs, just because they are from some other sites. Meanwhile, for instance, some programmers, Python coders or data science can be somewhere closer to the blockchain and to these algorithms and NFTs to understand how it works and how to, I don't know, mint their first work, all of that.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That was a very good point. And keeping that in mind, I mean, doesn't it become pretty speculative or overhyped from time to time? I mean, all this NFT NFT bubbles during Corona times, or maybe some kind of generative AI and such kind of things. Doesn't it overhype the sphere?
I don't think so. It's kind of overhyped in mass media maybe, but there's a big notion, and it's rising every year. It's rising even during 2022 when we kind of faced the NFT crash and Bitcoin crash. Even then, artists were delivering a lot of projects, and curators and collectors were all together. So it's all in the eyes of the viewer how you accept this new stuff, new things, and I think it's not about the hype. yes, it's if we see on the news, like they're always speculating on CryptoPunk, on PFP projects. It's like small image collections, and it's more like making money, more like investment. A lot of people, a lot of rich people, looking at these projects as a part of investments right now. But it's kind of, I personally split this up from like real art and PFP art, because it's kind of different structures, different ways of doing things and money. And yeah, it's really interesting how it's developing. And it's only 2-3 years and we are here.
Yeah, it provides artists with I don't know, decentralized platform to sell their artwork directly to the audience without the need for, I don't know, intermediate galleries or auction houses. I mean, in real life, this is not only increase artists' profit, but also, I don't know, democratize their entire process in general. On the other hand, it is also true that the current frenzy around NFTs can appear speculative, with some pieces selling for, I don't know, millions of dollars. Some critics argue this may be a bubble. However, it's important to remember that speculation is not unique in blockchain or NFTs. It exists in all areas of art or investments in real life, not only an NFT on blockchain. And in general, from my point of view, the value of art, where it's an oil painting or an NFT, is quite subjective. It gives everyone value, is essentially what someone is willing to pay for them. Whether this is benefits or the terminal of the art industry, it is subjective and varies depending on who you ask. So it's clear that blockchain brings a new dimension to the art world, and it's existing to see how it will continue to evolve this space.
I just want to add to what Hannah said. Not only the price of the artwork or the value of the artwork, it can fluctuate because it can be dictated by the hype of the community, but also can be dictated by the actual price of the crypto in that moment in the market. So you have no, let's say, you have no security, but also no control at all, over that. You can set a price, but you can wake up the next morning and you don't know if it's going to be a few cents or millions. So that's very variable. Speculative parts is also like the part that where a lot of scam has happened during this time, like stealing pictures and just, repropose them on platforms and just reselling them, because a lot of people fall into this trap of it's so hyped that everybody has to catch a piece of it, especially with this big community or big trends like the crypto punks, the crypto kittens, and so on. Right? Everybody wants to snatch a piece of the hype and everything, and because of that, most of the people that come into the blockchain community, they're not really a culture, they're not really educated, so they don't really check for proof of ownership, and that's easy mistake, right? To just fall into that trap and just like catch whatever you can without even going and research and trace back to the original proof of ownership. So there's no education on that side. I feel like I saw a lot of it happening in the community.
Okay. Yes, please.
Yeah, even I got this trap. I lost like 6 NFTs because of some very clever scam. And even I was like saying every artist that you need to store your stuff on the kind of cold wallets.
You need to be careful.
Be careful. Every time I was posting, and then I was like clicking some link and like, what's up?
It happens to the best of us.
It was really upset moment, but then it's like anyway, these NFTs were back on my wallet because the community just gave me back them, and I was not very
you were lucky
upset. But yes, I heard a lot of stories, people losing this stuff, even their security or whatever. But it's really interesting to add to Anna that there's also a big profit for artists and for designers, and this is called royalties. And you know that by this common contract like ERC 7021, you like inscript the how to say the royalties. It will last forever. So every time your work sell on second-hand market, you will get your 10% or whatever was inscripted in the contract. So
Right.
it's really helpful for artists, and they are shaping this market. And it's really interesting finding that a lot of artists became collectors. So it's like 40% of artists on NFT, they are collecting. And they are collecting their friends, they're collecting art they like. And this is really interesting how it's shaping the community, how the roles are changing. So artist can be collector can be creator, and so on. So like dealer can be a critic. So it's really interesting how it's all shaking up
Absolutely.
and forming new platforms, new kind of exhibitions. Like today, I think today it's like Paris NFT happening in Paris, in France. NFT big
NFT Paris, yeah.
NFT Paris session, and yeah, a lot of people coming there. It's really interesting how they get communicated offline, and this is how it happens right now.
Okay, and I mean, yeah, beyond all these speculations and bubbles and stuff, it seems like the technology really works pretty good for artists. And you have just touched the topics of ownership, the topics of change, and so on. And it seems like the industry itself, the adoption of blockchain among artists is pretty transformative, and sometimes even it goes faster than the artists try to keep up with everything and with all this gen art and all that kind of stuff going on. And let's talk about all these transformative things. I see that we have at least 3 questions in the live chat, and let me check another live chat from the We Are community platform. Yeah, I think that we will come to the questions maybe in 10 minutes or so. And let's talk about this transformative things. I mean, for example, yeah, how do you see this intersection of blockchain technology and generative art as two major things that are happening right now?
Yeah, I can start on generative art or gen art just because I was quite close to that, writing my own codes. So I guess it's a practice where an artist uses an autonomous system, such as some algorithm or randomness, yes, to create or contribute to their artwork. And this can be achieved through various mediums, from traditional owns like paintings or sculpture, or some kind of digital forms like computer graphic or sound synthesis. So in the context of blockchain and crypto art, we've seen that gen art take on a new form in projects like, I don't know, art blocks or autoglyphs, where algorithms are used to generate unique NFTs. And when the token is minted, the artwork is created on the spot based on predetermined algorithmic rules. So combining machine learning, if you know that GANs, so generative adversarial networks, with the gen art has also led to some interesting developments. For instance, artists can now train a model on some, I don't know, curate basis to produce new digital images. That's very fascinating from my point of view. Also, gen art aligns with the ethos of the blockchain spaces in terms of openings and this process transparency. And the scripts used for generating the artwork in many cases are open source and verifiable on the blockchain. So beyond these technical aspects, Gen art paves the way for numerous conceptual explorations. It opens up some discussions about the nature of creativity, authorship, and originality. Just because new questions are appeared: can a piece of code be creative or be an artist? What distinguishes between generative art from a human-made art? So while gen art has existed for, I don't know, several decades, yeah, the advent of blockchain technology and AI has opened up new possibilities in this in general, and leading to resurgence of interests. So it's an adventurous and exploratory field that constantly reshaping and pushing the boundaries of what we call art in nowadays. What do you think,
Yeah,
guys?
thank you, Hannah, for touching this reshaping thing about the industry. And let's try to understand what challenges are there right now.
What do you mean?
I mean,
Challenges?
yeah, I mean, what challenges do we have right now in terms of this new kind of, so to say, world of gen art?
With Gen Art, I think Gen Art is occupying like more than half of NFT right now. It's numbers by some survey I had read before. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really evolving, and I know a lot of collectors that are only focused on Gen Art, and a lot of like curators, and so it's like there are few platforms like Versa, like Versum, Versa, like FX Hash, art blocks, where stuff happens and where they drop their collections, these artists. And there are about challenges. I think from the artist perspective, the biggest challenge is to manage his actual time of marketing time, and how to be like a marketer, artist, promoter, exhibitor, and curator in one person. So it's really hard for a sole artist to be like to contain different persons without any help. That's why we have some platforms that like unload the burden, like curated platforms. So there is a real call on NFT to be more curated, because it's really cluttered right now. On each platform there is a big clutter that need to be curated, and this is the main challenge. So it's like curating and promoting right now.
So, main challenges for creators, right? But I also want to touch a little bit about the Gen AI because I'm a little bit opinionated on this part. Being coming from a traditional art background, having to create everything myself and basically spend hours and hours just even coming from the idea and innovation and being creative. Of course, creativity is also part of like, or part of creativity is also copying a little bit or taking inspiration from other artists. But like for me, generative arts, I don't have a problem with generative arts itself if it's the way it used to be done when we were starting with NFT. So there was an algorithm, somebody would write the algorithm so that he would own the algorithm. It would, be the technical person who understands it and then be surprised about the artwork because he had almost no control over it, like seeing it for the first time. That's really amazing, right? But or for example, the other type of generative AI, which is like giving them variables, and then every picture will have a variable, and it will be picked random, and then there will be multiple amounts of this variable that will make different pictures. Yeah, I have no problem with that. But if you're talking about like the new prompt AI generative art, then you lose me completely there because I have a challenge with that because it's really depressing for an artist who puts a lot of time and effort into creating something, and then seeing somebody who has no idea what's running in the background, no technical experience, no passion or creativity to actually do something with that, and just writing a prompt and say, create something that represent this in the style of this other person, and that's basically stealing for me, or like, and that the AI will make it in a second and will be even better than the original probably sometimes. That's really demotivating for real artists to continue their work, right? So that's for me a challenge that I'm facing at the moment going forward with this, new AI coming into place.
Yeah, that's interesting. But I want to a little bit correct you. So generative art is the art that's created by code. So you use either Python, either Java. So like AI art is completely different stuff.
Yeah, of course. So, that's what I meant. I have no problem with generative art by itself.
AI is different. Like AI, yes, it's like you're making prompts, you're participating in this copyright infringement, like huge copyright infringement in the world. But if you start using it wisely, you can find actually your own way. I know a lot of artists, they are trying hard. It's really hard to maintain the quality of AI art by the series of works.
It's true, but yes. I think it's not comparable to the amount of effort that you have to put into creating a piece, an original piece by yourself.
Sure.
So it's still not completely level as an artist.
I agree with you, Francesca, but I have my own experience just because I also have this artist background, just because my professional also started from the original art. And when I start learning this data science and working with these chords, I was trying to use my own arts, yes, from traditional life, and trying to use them, working with this algorithm, try to write my own code for that. The result was awful. I mean, if you compare with some I don't know, all that DALL-E and AI artists, right, that are based on the prompts only. But I'm very proud of that result, just because the background for that code was my own, and the code was awful but my own. And this piece is I understand that is a chord, and sometimes the result is unexpected. You don't know what will be at the end, but that experience very inspire me to experiment with my own artist or works that I made by myself, and just using some codes to work with them just a little bit more, to be, I don't know, coding and original arts in one piece.
Absolutely, that's part of the creation. I think, like,
yes,
you're still creating, right? But I think it takes on the creativity just to be writing a prompt, right, or be reusing the code for generative AI of another person, right, and getting different results.
So just because from my experience, it took a lot of time. It wasn't so quickly.
Of course.
And I understood that if that was only just my piece of art, that'll be okay. And that'll be quicker, just because after that I had used that code, just experimenting, and I had some mistakes. Something wasn't working, so I needed some work with my notebook, just because I needed more memory and all of that stuff. I was waiting for I guess 4 or 5 days for the result when the code was just working. I couldn't work with my notebook. So I 3 notebooks, one for EPAM that I just working as a UX designer, one Windows for the whole family, and one Linux that is just creating these codes and just to work with the Python codes.
Amazing.
So just because it takes time, in my case, in general.
Yes, and still there is a pretty enormous difference of the ratio of how many ratio between the real life art, so to say, and art generated by AI, for example. And
Mhm.
it seems like we've been born and raised during the era when a certain content piece is kind of had some factual meaning, and we are coming into the future where everything will be fake and artificial by default. Every movie we see, every piece of art we see, and so on. And of course, that triggers many copyright issues. And do you think that in the future we will have NFTs for everything, just to validate, or maybe just kind of as a validation certificate of a certain piece of art, a piece of content, or anything else? Or is it not a suitable mechanism for that?
It's already exists actually.
It exists, yeah, but not adopted, I would say.
Yeah, it's just better than paper, in my opinion. So I wish we will adapt it to everything, because I live in Germany, and Germany is just paperwork on anything. And so I think even though we consume a lot of electricity for running out this blockchain, I think long term it will be more ecological than just having so much paper wasted.
Yeah, also.
No, I think the
So,
biggest problem with adopting the blockchain is the transparency. So if you want to make these electricity payments transparent, I'm not sure that any government will like it. So you will have access to any of the transaction from any user. You can see how they consume the electricity. So now you can't do this, right? So it's a matter of privacy. It's a matter of transparency, and if we will solve it, it will be a new future.
Yeah, the key shape that while blockchain is that's decentralized, global copyright laws are typically national in scope. So resolving copyright dispute involving NFTs present legal complexity. In general, not all artists are familiar with the specific details of copyright law, which adds to the potential for misunderstanding and some misuse. However, maybe in future there may be blockchain-based solutions or protocol in place that help to automatically enforce copyright protection. That'll be great. But for now, artists and buyers should remain fully aware of copyright laws and carefully review the rights and licenses associated with any NFT transaction.
yes, and I believe we will be speculating that in the near future. And we've got something like 15 minutes before the session ends, and I see some questions in the live chat. Let's go through the questions. The first one comes from Konstantin, who asks, can you tell us how you feel about the trend of tokenization of the art industry? Anyone?
Uh,
I feel good.
Tokenization, the arts industry, you mean tokenization of the physical art, or what do you mean?
I think he has the question. They mean like tokenization of real, like content, like how say,
Like if I would
real
take a
time,
picture of the Mona Lisa and then tokenize it and this is the original, and say that this is the original, right?
There is
kind of.
some kind of second part from the same author of the question. He says there is a noticeable trend that is bringing together illustrators who are just trying to monetize their images through NFT and people who are trying to bring the art of NFT.
Yeah,
And yeah,
when
the last part. Yeah, sorry about that,
I don't
Konstantin.
see
Yeah,
the whole message, so
this
we're
brings
only seeing
new buyers into the market who don't even realize whether they are buying art or merchandise from their favorite artist.
So I think it's a question about these projects that correlated with art, like PFP projects. Like PFP means Profile Picture Project, when you have CryptoPunk, when you have Bored Apes, and a lot of other. So it's like they actually hire one illustrator, for example. They do their work, and they pay them in like, I don't know, maybe percentage from sales or whatever. And yeah, this is kind of a very different situation from the art, from artists that are driving this space. But it's like a base. So without this PFP, it will be very hard to attract collectors and to educate collectors. So the reason is now is to educate the collector how to collect art, actually, how to distinguish art, how to evaluate art. And this is a real question, and people starting to evaluate this, and a lot of collectors starting to make their own platforms, their own projects, their own galleries. So this is really like pushing this moment, this like pouring water on the wheels. So I don't think it's bad.
Okay. And there is another question from the We Are Community platform, which comes from Alexander, who asks something similar as far as I understand. He says, imagine you are an artist. Does it really need to transfer, for example, oil canvas to NFT? Or better to make different art for NFT? How does marketing campaign should look like?
It's interesting. Yes, it did the expectations, just because some I know some artists who really like to distinguish oil paintings, for instance, or some other canvases and NFT works. Some of them even tried to experiment using their let's say example as an example oil canvas and trying to make it as NFT. So I guess there is no any right direction and some feeling or needs to do that. There's no need, just because when we speak about not a designer and about an artist, that is the only one who decide what he expects, what results he expects. He would like to have something just as an oil canvas, or he would like to sell it as an NFT as well. So it's very controversial and very subjective, very personal expectations from the artists. What do you think, Francesca?
So
Arseny?
as a painter, when I paint an artwork and then I take a picture of it, I think it's a different thing, because that's a picture and that's the artwork, right? There was a time where even I was thinking of use the physical artwork as a consumable. That means that if you actually buy the NFT or the picture of it, then you own the original. Like that's the contract, the certificates, the ownership of your original, right? And they will be shipped to you, right? There was this idea. But then, I was really reflecting on this as well, like in general, like even coming back to maybe the question from Konstantin, what do I feel, what do I think about it, of like digitalizing the real art. So if we're thinking about like really famous pieces, I don't know, Picasso, the Mona Lisa, and a lot of pieces that you can see in a museum, right? Those pieces are probably owned not just by the museum or the government, but most of the pieces are owned by actual people, rich families, I don't know, generation. These people don't actually own the art. They do own the art, but they do own only the contract. So they don't actually have it in their home and see it every day, right? It's there, they own it. So similar, like it's like if we didn't have NFTs, this will be the like primordial, like archaic concept of an NFT. They own a contract that says, I own this art piece, but it's somewhere in a museum and I cannot even see it. But a lot of people can take pictures of it and do whatever they want and look at it, stare at it as much as they want. Same like with an NFT, right? And saying like, oh, I can right click, download, and I have it. Yeah, it's not in my wallet though, right? You can download it, you can have it in your computer, but it's not in your wallet, so it's not yours. Same like I go to the museum and take a picture and you cannot say, look, I have the Mona Lisa. So this is what I think of it.
I can just add that there is really an interesting notions with artists that are trying to combine the real media and NFT. And the best example is behind me on the wall. This is like a picture. This is a print from Phil Colbert, quite famous artist, and he is running the NFT project called Lobsters. Lobster is his famous character, and he created a big NFT project of lobsters. And I was really lucky to have the rarest one, and I sold it for good money. It helped me a lot to relocate. And that was one that called the Robo Lobsters. It was they send it to the owners of original lobsters. So it's like a game. So it's like a gamification. And at the end, he made like the performance in his studio when we could connect to his video and could operate with the big lobster robot that spilled the color on the print. So you see this blue color, it actually was spilled by me online. And there was a big lobster that holding this can with spilling. So it's like very unique work. It's 1-1 and it's signed by our artist. So, and I also have this NFT because it's locked on contract. You can't sell it, you can't send it. So it's actually very funny concept. So you can do anything on NFT. It's just, you can just imagine, and you need to be on this community like 24 hours, 7 days. But it's crazy how you can extend the reality, the communication with your collectors, with your fans, artists, and friends.
Okay, and it seems like we have just had the last question from the platform, and wrapping everything up. Let me ask you one last question, and just to imagine you have a magic wand, for example, and this magic wand can fix one thing in the sphere of blockchain and art. And what thing would that be?
I want to say fix the price, but I know that's not possible.
Sell everything.
Good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, I'd like to stop scams. Yeah, it's really annoying.
Yeah.
So much of them right now.
Yeah, but there's everywhere. I mean, maybe a good thing to, you already have proof of authenticity. If you could also own the copyright by the moment you're outputting the artwork or you're minting the artwork, that would be amazing. That would solve all the problems. And then you could decide if by transferring it, the artwork or the NFT, you would give away the copyrights or not. That would be amazing.
Okay. Hannah, anything from you?
The pricing is a very mature point. That'll be great. Some regulations, some not regulations, but something that could help reduce this scam, all this annoying information. That will be great to transform platforms for professional artists, crypto artists, any other artist that could participate in it. That will be great.
Okay, thank you so much. And let me double check if we have some questions left from the audience. Just a second. And it seems that we have discussed the questions, but still this session will be published on the We Are community platform and on our YouTube channel. And if you still have some questions and watching this as a recording, just leave them in the live chat and I will help you to address these questions to our today's panelists. And I'd like to thank everyone who watched this session today and thank our today's panelists for being with us. I believe that was useful, and we will try to continue the discussion. And of course, there are much more questions than answers right away, right now, not only in this topic, but overall everywhere. And feel free to leave your suggestions for our future episodes of our panel sessions and your comments about how you find this particular episode. And thank you, Arseny, Francesca, Hanna. Thank you so much. And stay tuned.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you,
bye,
Alex.
everyone. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank
A
Cheers.
wonderful evening, everyone.
Thank you for
Bye.
organizing this. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.